Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. Well, I had a few people as of lately challenge me and my knowledge as far as what do I know about Christianity. And they tell me that my representation or my application or delivery in what I call truth, that's how they put it. Not that I personally think that they're going to actually do any research, but they tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, much less I probably don't even know what the definition of pagan means. So I'm here just for a moment to not only let you know that not only do I know what I'm talking about, but all I ask is change is painful, and that's the reason why people are so reluctant to do it. It costs a lot to do it, whether it be social, mental, or economic. You have to admit that whatever you believe or the course of life that you have chosen thus far hasn't been good enough. It's been wrong. As a matter of fact, it's not so necessarily much as wrong as if what you're doing is you're maturing and improving on your knowledge and wisdom. And with that, of course, when you get older, you should be able to do that. But it's best to be able to learn when it's young, because the learning curve is a whole lot easier. Because when you get old, it's kind of like concrete. You get set. And you get set in your ways. And it's not to say that your ways are necessarily truthful and right. Because one thing I learned about old people, they don't want to change. And it's not that change is wrong, but it's, I've come across people all the time who refuse to research and check out what I'm saying. They just want to continue on with the old-fashioned ways and traditions. The things that they accept is as if it's gospel truth. But let me go ahead and tell you what a pagan is. A pagan is basically somebody who has a background that comes from the English or the British. Somebody who is polytheistic in belief. And that means it is a religion where they believe in a pantheon of gods, meaning more than one god. And so they believe in, a bunch of them. And of course, the nature of paganism is, and I want you to listen to me real close, it's sensual in nature. If it feels good, do it. Whatever's right by you, then it's right. And of course, when you begin to view all these definitions and the things that paganism stand for in itself, you see it's nothing more than the old revived Roman Empire rehashed again. And that's what Christianity is. After all, it's not the father of Christianity, Constantine, the Roman emperor, who incorporated heathenism and paganism with Christianity in itself. So, and then they go on to ask me what I say, well, if we use terms like that, then I'm monotheistic, if I can use that term, meaning I only believe that there's one. I don't believe that there's three of them sitting up in the throne. I don't think there's three of them controlling the whole universe. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty much sure of that, using the same documents that you use. But yet and still, I believe that, and believing in the faith that there's only one, because the scriptures clearly tell us about a prophet, Hear, O Israel, Yahweh Elohim is one. He is one Yahweh, and that's it. Of course, King James, Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one God, and that's it, just one. And no matter how many times you quote that thing over and over again, people will still embrace the customs, the traditions, and the heritage that's been passed down to them. Well, I'm not that way. I was raised in what I call paganism, Christianity, and of course, I'm a person that I don't believe everything that everybody tells me, and I'm going to research, do my due diligence, and check it out. I don't care if my mom and daddy told me, I'm still going to check it out, because I've got one life to live, one soul, and that's it. And so do you. So I can't afford to be sitting up here thinking that I'm serving the one true Elohim, the one true Yahweh, or the King of the universe, and here I am in nature, as deceived as my mind has been. I'm sitting up here worshiping a pantheon of gods. I'm sitting up here worshiping 4 different gods. And that's just crazy. So it makes no difference what mental assent you may put to something. What does make a difference is your footprint. What does make a difference is the platform that you've embraced. what does make a difference is do you have a personal relationship with the Father? Because I'm telling you right now that all roads does not lead to glory, and that's just the truth. If I turn around and I give you directions to my house, and then you say, well, you know what, Pastor Dowell, I believe that no matter which way I take, I don't care which way I take, I believe it's going to get to your house. You're going to find yourself lost. And that's what a lot of people are going to find themselves as today. They're going to find themselves lost simply because they don't understand. Of course, it's none of my business. You have to understand, I'm not the Holy Spirit. I'm not the one that people have issues with. People think when they disagree with me that they have issues with me, but you know, a lot of your cares and concerns, it actually rests between you and your Creator. And that's another story for another time, because, you know, the Father or the Creator, He's the Creator of all men, but yet He's not every man's Father, and that's just the truth. So, no, I don't believe in a pantheon of gods. And if you really look at America in itself, it's all about that. They tell you one thing and they do another. They all say the name Jesus, but they really truly don't believe it. If you don't believe me, just watch them. They'll say that they believe in the Creator, or that there is so-called one, and then they'll turn around and twist it and warp and say there's three. But then you watch their religious observance and their religious worships, it all has to do with the ancient customs of Rome. They'll celebrate Christmas and Easter and call Sunday the Sabbath day, in total direct opposition to what the Hebrew God gave to the children of Israel, the sons of Jacob. It is amazing, and I'm amazed rather, and I am appalled. But I do know this, that the majority opposition I receive, whether it be preachers, teachers, individuals, brothers or sisters, it is because they simply will not study. They will not research. Because if you did research, you'll find out there's one thing about me. I don't stretch myself beyond measure. I only talk about the things that I'm familiar with. You're not going to see Pastor Dowell come in here and try to give you a class in cooking, because I simply just don't know how to cook, and we will all starve, and that's just the truth. So I don't stretch myself beyond that. You don't see me out here trying to give people wisdom, advice, and understanding on how to fix a car as far as mechanics go, because that's not me. I mean, now, you want to talk about laying blocks, framing the house, doing the roof, running electric, and all this other stuff like that, building custom cabinets. You want to talk about managing a community as well as a small church. Now you've got my area of expertise. You want to talk about being a scholar in the scriptures. Am I pretty much online? Do I know what I'm talking about when I come to, when it comes to expounding on and explaining the scriptures? Now you're talking about my cup of tea. But anything outside of that, other than what I mentioned, I'm not an expert in. And even as what you will call an expert, there's one thing I've learned. You never stop learning. No matter what you do in life, you never stop learning. If you ever get to the point where you stop learning, you're saying you've already arrived, and therefore you cannot hear and you cannot grow any further. I haven't learned that yet. Matter of fact, I don't. The way I see it and the way things are going, I don't think I'm ever going to get to that point. But, this is Pastor Dowell. I thought I'd just come in here and try to explain to a lot of people who are having a hard time trying to embrace some of the words that I'm saying because of our training. You have to understand, you have been trained and not educated. And so when you hear somebody like me, sure, it's going to stimulate and it's going to shock the senses. I'm telling you, it's going to literally, you're going to have days and weeks that go by once you listen to me that you're not going to have any peace until you go back and revisit it, the things that I mentioned to you. And that's what the Holy Spirit does. See, that's His job. My job is to proclaim, to hurl, to preach, to shout to the rooftop. My job is not to convince you or convict you. I can't do that. That is the job of the Holy Spirit, or the Ruach Kadesh. But I hope that you do have the ears to hear. And I hope that some way, somehow, that I've been able to be a blessing in your life. And I hope that not only as being a blessing, I hope that you come out of those churches so that you can learn Christ. I hope that you come out of them, and then if it be the Father's will, maybe I'll be your pastor. But there's one thing about it. We're going to know who we're serving. We're going to know what we're doing. And when it's all said and done, on my watch, we're going to make it to the kingdom. And that's the truth. And that's the truth. Straight way. Pastor Dowell won't be fleecing anybody or playing around with your feelings and emotions or your soul. That's the truth.